Welcome. It is another Tuesday Tips. My name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates from Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. Glad you joined us. Topic's a little lighter for this week for Tuesday Tips, and it's a topic that I really love. I'm in my mid 60s, and I'm not as active as I used to be. Used to love sports, all kinds of activities. I still enjoy being outdoors. And one of the things that I found that has helped me, and I know is very good, what going to be our topic for discussion for this Tuesday Tips, is gardening. And we're going to talk about many ways that this can be a great way for our aging adults to do a lot of things. So, it brings joy and health to so many people besides me. And whether you're a seasoned gardener or just curious, there's something in it for everyone. So, gardening is a lot more than just planting flowers or vegetables. It's a way to stay active, feel good, get out in the sun for a little bit, and even, connect with others. It's something anyone can do, no matter your age or ability. And so that's why we're going to talk that it's one of those great activities for our aging adults. So what are some of the key benefits of gardening? It's light exercise for the body. And, you can take that. It's, being retiring from the hospital and from floor nursing, where I was on my feet all the time, 12 hours at a crack, to now doing consulting and working with, aging adults and their families. My work is a lot more sedentary than it used to be. And so I still have my watch on. I still look at my steps, but I struggle. I get on the treadmill or during a busy day where I'm not real active and I'm working with clients, or working on the computer, I don't get as active as I do. So last weekend, it was finally very nice here. We're in Southwest Wisconsin, and the weather was finally cooperating where we could get out and start, planting some bulbs and, rototilling up the garden and just getting things ready. And each day, I think Saturday I got 12,000 steps and Sunday I got 10,000 steps. And it was doing something that I like. I didn't realize I was getting all of those steps, but it was just gardening, walking around the house, getting, walking back and forth from the shed, getting my tools and things like that. So even though it didn't feel like it was strenuous work, I was getting activity. So it keeps our body moving. Things like digging, planting, pulling weeds help improve our strength, our flexibility, and our balance. So even small movements like watering plants, say if you have a lot of indoor plants, even small movements like watering plants gets joints working, and it keeps our muscles engaged. So what's another benefit of gardening? Supports overall health. And what I mean by that is, spending time outdoors means you're getting fresh air, you're getting some vitamin D from the sun, which also helps strengthen your bones and boost your energy. It kind of gives you those kick in those good hormone feelings. Now, I'm a big believer. Everything I always say, moderation, everything done in moderation is fine. So when I'm talking about getting out in the sun, especially in the springtime when we haven't been out in the sun in a long time, make sure that you're using sunscreen if necessary. Make sure you're wearing a hat. Use some gloves. Getting splinters, especially like with our aging adults that might be diabetics, getting a splinter in their foot or getting a splinter in their finger could lead to an infection. And it's very difficult sometimes when your blood sugar is not well controlled. Those infections can get away with you. So, just again, everything with moderation. Wear your gloves and all your protective devices while you're gardening. So one another benefits of gardening is it reduces stress and boosts your mood. So gardening can lower your stress levels. I just came off of a week visiting my mom, was in the hospital for 12 days. It was very intense for me. I was there from 8 in the morning till 5 to 7 at nighttime. Lots of things were going on. I wanted to make sure that she was getting the best care possible. So it was a very stressful week for me. And I'm 4 hours away from home. So I had a long drive there, a long drive home. And just getting out, I came home Friday, and getting out in the yard on Saturday and Sunday really reduced my stress levels. I felt really good. It was good to be outdoors, and it kind of lifted the weight off of my shoulders. So it's, like I mentioned before, it's known to increase the feel-good chemicals that we have in our brains. So It also keeps the mind active. Planning what to plant, taking care of the flowers, or even learning about gardening helps keep your mind sharp and focused. There's lots, especially this time of year, there's a lot of magazines out in the grocery stores and on the magazine racks, whether you want to learn. Like my goal this year, the last couple of years, I've been trying to, I go to the Amish auction locally every Memorial Day. And one of the things that they sell in abundance is flowers and plants and both annuals, perennials, all kinds of outdoor trinkets and yard ornaments and things like that, besides all the other things that they sell. So, I'd been getting in a habit of just getting my annuals and getting, flats of all these different flowers. And, it can get, now that I'm retired and I'm, working part-time in our business, I wanted to be a little bit more conscious. I didn't have my hospital nursing salary anymore. And so I wanted to be a little bit more conservative about what I was spending on flowers, which my husband um, calls them weeds, but he lets me have them anyway. But so I wanted to start and learn more about perennials. Perennials are flowers that come back year after year. Annuals are the flowers that you just plant every spring, and they may bloom until, September, the fall time, and then they're gone. And next year you have to rebuy them again. So I wanted to spend more time learning about perennials. So I've been researching perennials. I've picked up some perennial magazines. Again, this also where it comes into mind, where you're keeping your brain smart, because you have to look at, what do the flowers need? Do they need part sun? Do they do well in part shade? What part of your house? What are where you're planting your garden? On the east side, the north side, where there's a lot of shade, hostas do real well there. Or, are you on the south side? Where's your sun exposure? So a lot of it can go into planning. And I keep a journal, and about how my vegetables do every year, where I'm planting new things, so I know where everything's at. So this is, again, another, and you can start this even in the wintertime to help, keep your mind going and plan your garden. So it also gives you a sense of accomplishment. So watching your seeds grow is very rewarding. It's proof of all your hard work. This year, I've been talking about it for the last couple of years. This year, I actually started some seeds indoors of things that I was going to plant. I planted some vegetables, some cucumbers. I started some baking pumpkins. I started watermelon, muskmelon. So they'll be ready to go in the garden in the next week or so. And so it's exciting to watch the little seeds sprout. And I started planting them indoors in March. So you can get an early start. Again, we're in Wisconsin. So, we have a little shorter growing season, some other places in the country. So, it's just been fun just seeing it all together and seeing what pops up and what doesn't. So it's fun. So it's and to watch them grow, it's really proof of all your hard work. So every spring I separate some of my house plants, and now I have several gifts to share with others. That's another thing to do. If you're looking about a thoughtful gift to give someone and they like house plants and they don't know how to get started, or I have African violets and I separate them every spring. And so I just gave away some more African violets, and I've got some English ivy, some spider plants, some things that always have offshoots. And so those are really nice gifts to give someone and introduce someone to gardening or, raising indoor plants. So it's also a lot of fun. So I keep extra pots handy for gift giving. And I also decorate. I love to do craft things. And that's also something that our aging adults can do. Is I like to decorate the containers, such as whether it's large coffee cans or vegetable cans, soup cans, things like that. And I dress it up so that I put a seedling or a starter or a bigger plant. I mean, I can dress up the pot. Didn't cost me anything except what the food I purchased in. And now I have a nice gift of a plant to give. So some social benefits. I mean, you're connecting with nature and others. So gardening is a wonderful way to feel connected to the world around you. There's a lot of garden clubs, joining a community garden, or even there's Facebook groups about gardening in your area of the United States that share gardening tips. And you get to know these people, and you get to share, how did your hostas do this year? Or I have my mother-in-law who passed away last spring had amaryllis. So we separate a lot of them and a lot of people in the family. So this is my first year growing amaryllis. And by the time I got them, it was time to put them in the basement because you can't let them hard freeze, and we do freeze here. So I was hoping and praying that when I pulled them out this spring, that they would be doing okay. And they're very low maintenance. You don't water them all winter long. I just kept them in our root cellar in the basement, and they are I have them outside now, and I see green. They're starting to grow, and it's really exciting. And amaryllis, they're so pretty, the big flowers, and they multiply. So you always have more to give others. And we talked about getting your daily dose of vitamin D when you're outside. Make sure that you're prepared. We talked about sunscreen and a hat, and make sure you've got your gloves to avoid getting splinters and things maybe stuck in your hands, especially if you are have some immunocompromised issues, you don't heal as well, or you may be a diabetic. And it also strengthens bonds with loved ones. It's also a fun activity that you can share with family and friends. You can pass on your gardening knowledge. I've had my girls come or friends come in the fall. We've done canning. I've taught young, moms how to can that have never canned before. And so it's a lot of fun passing on those skills to people that want to learn. And it's a lot of fun. So let's talk about some practical gardening tips. And I just want to say, Gary, again, thanks for the great thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And so practical tips for gardening as seniors. So start small. Begin with a small garden bed, maybe a few pots. Try easy plants like herbs, tomatoes, or flowers that are low maintenance. What we like, it's only my husband and myself. So by growing herbs, it's hard. You buy a container, even if you get fresh herbs at the grocery store, a lot of times, if you get a certain herb for a recipe, you're only using, just a tiny bit. And then you worry about, then you're wasting the rest of it. So how nice it is to have a little herbs growing in pots that you can just, pick off, what you need for a recipe, and the rest is still growing and you don't have to throw it out. Tomatoes, flowers, things that are low maintenance are good things to start with. Again, use the right tools. Look for tools with long handles or cushions to help protect hands and knees. They have those nice little gardening benches that you can either sit on or kneel on. And, raised beds, we have a raised vegetable garden. So raised beds are really nice, especially for our aging adults, because it reduces the amount of bending that you have to do. I love my raised garden for that reason. So you can adapt your gardening to your needs. So if standing is hard, try sitting on a stool or gardening on a table. You can also work in short bursts to avoid getting tired. I have an old table that I have in my potting shed, or my she shed, as I like to call it. And I bring out this table so I can stand at the table and repot. I'm not bending over. I put my dirt in some ice cream buckets so I can set it on the table at eye level with me. So I'm not doing a lot of bending and stooping. So there's lots of ways that you can adapt it to your needs. We want you to stay safe. We talked about sunscreen, staying hydrated, watch out for long sun exposure. We talked about hats, gloves, and they are your best friends. And we talked about splinters being hazards here. So another thing we want to mention is get creative indoors. If outdoor gardening isn't an option for you, try growing plants in containers inside. Windowsills are perfect for herbs or small flowers. I have a nice multi-tiered plant stand that I can fit quite a few different plants on just in front of a south-facing window. Even if you don't have the best spots indoors, you can get a growing lamp. They have actually called a growing lamp, and it's an electric lamp that you can put near where you're wanting to grow your plants. And so that'll help you if you don't have a lot of sun exposure in the place that would be best suited to house your indoor plants. So in wrapping up, gardening is more than just a hobby. It's a way to keep your body, your mind, and your heart healthy. Plus, it's so much fun watching your plants grow. And, we want to encourage you to get started. This week, I'm going to give you a challenge. So this week, I challenge you to try a little gardening, whether it's potting a plant, pulling some weeds, or just sitting outside in the garden. Take some time to enjoy getting out in nature. There's something very soothing about getting outside and getting out in nature. So Remember, every small step in the garden brings a big reward. You're never too old to bloom and grow. So just want to thank you for joining me today. This was more of a lighter episode. And so if you have any gardening tips or experiences, please share them. Please put them in the comments or make a comment if you're watching the replay on YouTube. Make a comment there. We'd love to hear your tips. We'd love to hear of something that works well for adapting to aging adults. And so that would be great if you could share those with us. And otherwise, we are going to see you next time for another Tuesday Tips. Take care and thank you for joining us. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye now.